So today we are going to discuss securing your AWS cloud instances and basically security in terms of dealing with AWS. And with us today we have Kevin Tuei, who wears a lot of hats, among them being a cloud developer. He's also a certified educator, an AWS community builder, and an Atlassian community leader, among many other things that he'll tell us about himself. So he'll take us through the cloud architecture and securing your AWS cloud instances. So Kevin, karibu sana and welcome to another Cyber Shujaa mentorship session. Hello, Kevin. Okay. Just a minute, I confirm if he's on the call.
Going on the dark web, shopping for your information. Now let's take a trip to Silk Road. When visiting the dark web,
So let us give him around 3 to 5 minutes to sort out his teams. It's giving him a bit of an issue.
Mama inamaanisha name two tools that can be used to tell time.
Umeunderstand aje wewe mwenyewe from your view?
Understand.
Name two tools that can be used to tell time.
Yes, Victor, your hand is up.
Guys.
Nani ameinua
Hello. Am I audible?
Hello,
Yes,
Kevin.
yes.
Yes,
Okay,
you are.
sorry, my
Okay, just wanted to confirm whether something.
okay. So we are glad you've been able to join. My my volume was low, so I think I missed something. But welcome to our Cyber Shujaa mentorship session. Thank you for agreeing to be a mentor for us again. So I had just introduced who you are, what the topic is, what you do in terms of AWS Cloud, and so on. So the floor is yours to tell us more about yourself and the topic for discussion today.
Thank you so much. Let me do my video. Okay, I don't know if it's going to come up or it's going to affect my network, but yeah. So my name is Kevin Tuei, and I'm not really sure what you heard, but maybe I'll just say something that is different from the last time we met. Is I've been able to do a number of different awesome things. First of all, helping organize community events like how we did AWS Community Day, and as well as DevOps Days Nairobi, and Write the Docs Kenya conference. Being part of an organizing team for those kind of events was really, really interesting. And also got a kind of a work experience role as a CTO for Solavis Tech, which is a training partner in terms of it with only a focus on AWS and DevOps, as well as data science and machine learning. And yeah, and also I landed a role in LX as a community ambassador for their virtual assistant program. But away from that, the reason why I'm so passionate about what I do is very simple. I have a very undying love for community. That is why even when Hope reached out to me and says, "Can you be able to come through for a session on cloud?" It was a no-brainer for me. Let me see. Maybe we can share it
Sorry,
again.
Kevin, just a minute, I mute.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so it was a no-brainer for me. I couldn't like say what's in it for me or something of that sort. It's always a pleasure to be here, and seeing all the awesome 104 people here makes sense a lot in terms of what you're capable of going to learn. So definitely, as you can see, actually, since it was kind of short, I didn't prepare any slides, so you're going to be going directly to the hands-on stuff. And what came to my mind that was pretty clear is there's something people build, like there's a certain quote I saw from a friend of mine on LinkedIn, is the day you stop using tutorials after you start using tutorials is when you're going to start working, which was uh quite what can I say, it was eye-opening. Like, you cannot be in a perpetual cycle of doing tutorials or following hands-on labs or clicking here and there and there. You have to go above and beyond and start thinking about these things. So as Hope told you, you're going to learn about AWS Cloud Security in a hands-on way, but you can be sure that AWS Cloud Security, so when we basically most people start from. People start either by leveraging buckets. I'm seeing I'm getting poor quality. So when I start sharing my screen, I'll stop my video. Then we can be able to focus on the screen. So yes. So as I was saying, there's a lot of different things that comes into the security, the whole security life cycle, from prevention all the way to continual assessment of your infrastructure, and in between, everything in between, that is detection, response, and there's so many different kind of wide variety of tools, regardless of the provider, regardless of whether you're doing AWS, Azure, GCP, Huawei Cloud, whichever that matters, that you're using for your clients you're going to be serving. The most
I'm not sure. Am I the one who's lost connection?
No, me too.
No, we're losing you, Kevin.
Okay.
Okay, let me stop my video. Can you hear me now? Is it better? Okay, I don't know whether my network is jumping. I can switch to our awesome, exquisite executive Safaricom network that can never fail you, but always has. But if I'm audible, you can let me know instead of me having to switch.
You're audible. Let's just see if you'll be breaking.
Okay, let's
or
see
it will be
if I share
fine.
my screen. Let's see if I share my screen, it will affect things. You let me know, then I'll just switch my network.
Okay.
Okay. So is my screen visible?
Yes, it is.
And I'm also audible, like quite clearly. I'm not breaking, right? Awesome, thank you. Let's see, Caleb. Yeah, so when you're talking about security and something in general, because I'm on kind of a journey that I'm trying to make sure that I create a niche in security. I'm also planning to sit the AWS Security Specialty exam. And what I've learned across that journey as I've been preparing for it is that
Hello,
systems
Kevin.
or a sysops administrator. Yes.
Hello. You're breaking.
Yes. Yes. Oh, okay. Let me switch. Let me just switch. Let me switch to better network.
Okay.
Let me see. Let me first of all confirm whether that. Now, sometimes you might get a zero data. Okay, let me see if I'm going to get this. Okay, my apologies. I actually didn't think that I'm currently at a hotel and I didn't know the network is quite crazy. Okay, let me just confirm that this one has network. They do. This is beautiful, kind of. Awesome. And you should be able to now hear me clearly. Let me, can you still see my share? I'm still seeing, I can stop sharing. You can see my screen, right?
Yes, we can.
And I'm like awesome, no breaking and something, right?
Yes.
What skills I'm getting at? Not too bad. I don't know. Might be where I'm positioned. I don't know what it is, but it should be a bit faster. I don't know what I'm getting, but there must be some latency of sorts or something. Anyways, let's see. Should be better with time. Anyways, okay, it's lagging, but it's okay. So, anyways, so as I was telling you, like whether you're a developer or whether you're a sysops administrator, whether you are having these shiny new kind of titles like a DevOps engineer, a machine learning engineer, an AI engineer, whatever kind of engineer you are, the most important thing is you should think of yourself as a security engineer before all those kind of things, right? And how are you able to do that? You can be able to do that in many kind of ways. And the first one is look at the well-architected framework, right? So I'm going to start with there before I take you to a lab. So this is what we call the well-architected framework, and as obvious, I'll default to the AWS well-architected framework as a start, because today is all about AWS Cloud Security. And maybe just to get to know from the audience, the whole 130 plus here, anyone who has like used, or maybe let's first of all, let's start. How many of you have an idea of what the AWS well-architected framework is all about? Maybe if you have an idea, you can put a 1. If you have no idea, you can put a 2 in the chat, and I'd be happy to see that. Maybe if I can pull up the chat feature or something. I don't know, does it have, are we having chat? Hope.
Let's use the Q&A. The Q&A section
okay.
is
So if it's the
available
Q&A,
for...
okay. Yeah, so that you don't have a lot of things coming into the Q&A, maybe if you have an idea of what the well-architected framework is, it would be great to see what you know about it. And I'll be also checking your Q&A there. And maybe even that, I would love to see one brave soul come out and tell us and unmute and tell us what they know about the well-architected framework. As I do what? I stamp the coffee here. Anyone? I don't know. I'm not seeing this. Hope my network is not too bad. I don't know why I'm getting some quite of latency. As much as it is fast.
Let me help you with the Q&A before yours loads.
Okay, you'll sort that out. Anyways, anyone? Maybe I'll see you if you can raise your hand, or maybe I'd like it to be very interactive. I don't do Sunday preaching where you only have to say amen and wake up. Thank you, Mudhoni Njoki. The mic is yours.
Hi. So first of all, thank you for this. I'm currently taking Nikokwa cohort something, the AWS thing, the Kenyan one. So my understanding of the well-architected framework, also I'm attending this class, I missed my class, last week to Kifunzwai. So but I think it's the pillars that give us either the design principles or the best practices you're doing architecting for when you're in the cloud. So it could be either the security one or performance, ama cost. Yes, like, kwa uju, that is what I got from last week's class. That I'm here to go back to. But yes, but it's basically just the pillars, like, nina kusaidia. What do you look at? Ili uweze ukimove kwa cloud. So the assumption is uko on premise, like, uko offline. Okay, let me call on premise, and you're moving to the cloud. So nini unafaa kuangalia, is it security? So I think hapa hivi ndio akina IAM inaingia. Is it cost optimization? Hapa hivi ndio the calculators and the budgets zinaingia. Sustainability sikumbuki. But kwa uju, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's awesome. You've actually kind of nailed it. I love the fact that even though you didn't haven't finished up on that particular class, you got quite a good grasp of what the well-architected framework is. One aspect of helping someone move to the cloud the right way. I saw the hand of Shem. Maybe Shem, do you have something to add before we jump into the lab, or just the lab itself? Ama ilikuwa, or it was what? Accidental raising. Yes.
Good evening, Kevin.
Yes, I can hear you.
I think the previous speaker amesema venye inafaa. So security is one pillar of the framework and one of the most important pillars.
Yeah, sure, exactly. Security is one of the important pillars. So I'll not go into the document itself a lot, but you can see there's one thing that Mudhoni said, which was one thing of the well-architected framework, but but what she mentioned I would put that, like, that overarching thing, I would put it under the cloud adoption framework, where you want to help clients move to the cloud the right way or something. But the pillars, you nailed them. Those are the pillars that are there. But as you can see, what AWS puts it out is the AWS Well Architected will help all of us, the architects, to build secure, high-performing, resilient, and efficient infrastructure for a variety of applications and workloads. And it's built around those 6 pillars, that is operational excellence, security, reliability, performance efficiency, cost optimization, and sustainability. Obviously, our focus today is security, and even within security, I'll not be covering all the best practices and the guidelines or something of that sort. So there's another site called Well Architected Labs. So Well Architected Labs is a curated kind of hands-ons that is geared towards all those different pillars, and you can start building those hands-on skills in these areas, so that you just don't know you just don't learn the concepts on top, but you can also do this. So I'll obviously jump onto, okay, you can check it out, but I'll jump onto the security because I want us to really get a grip of this, and I'll do one lab from it, right? Yeah. So you can see this where it is, but I can click on start the security workshop. And the beauty about these workshops is they're curated by AWS themselves. So it is the same kind of proof of concepts that they use to share with, whether it is a small customer starting out on AWS or one of those big enterprise customers like Netflix. They would use the same run book to explain to them the proof of concept of these kind of things. So when you master them, you definitely can reach out, or can be like, let's say, whether it's the solutions architect or maybe the technical account manager or the business development kind of a person for an organization, whether it's a consulting firm or AWS itself. So here it is. And maybe if you'd like to follow along, maybe some of you would like to, maybe you're going to be as fast as it could be, but the beauty is you're having recordings, so you can come back and you're going to be availed that, and you're going to catch up on it. Okay, so I'll share these. So now with the Q&A, I don't know whether how we'll be able to share it. I don't know whether I'll be able to ask myself or whether it's going to load. But yeah, you can follow just the whole process. Just go to just Google Well Architected Labs, open the security section, and then just click Start Security Workshop. Then you're going to get yourself here. So here we are. I'm not going to go through the whole text and everything, the whole stories around it. But what you love about these labs is that's why I usually prefer using AWS workshops in terms of tutorials over maybe somebody's random blog. Is some people just love writing to you, create these, click these, then they say thank you for following my tutorial. I hope you learned something. See you on the next one, without them telling you, now this is the process of cleaning whatever you've created. Because, and then you'll have to now go back and start thinking, oh, I created this, I have to delete that. And if you don't do that, especially if it's your own AWS account, then definitely it's going to be crazy. As you're going to see, I'm going to be practically showing you security, as you see, because I felt like, should I log in beforehand? But then I felt, okay, it will be very good for me to how I've implemented security for my account as I log in, so that you can also think about the same and also consider, have you done the same for your case? So I'll sign in to one of my accounts, my AWS accounts, and once I'm there, first of all, is loads. Remember that it's a best practice to not use your root user for what? For day-to-day tasks. You use the root user for those kind of high-level administrative tasks or services that can only be managed from the root account. Some of them is like when you want to maybe request a support plan, or even maybe temporarily suspend your account. You cannot do that from an IAM user. There are certain specific services that you can only do from the root user, and that is the time you'd need to log in. But in essence, you're usually told, create it after you set up your IAM user, lock up your keys, lock up your credentials, and put it away. Somebody would ask, usually this thing around, I even had those kind of misconceptions. Should you use a password manager? Should you use Google Password Manager? Should you save your passwords on the browser? But that doesn't matter anymore with MFA, right? So even if I even show you this password that is here, or you can see I've saved so many passwords here, it doesn't really matter. So I have an account alias so that I don't have to remember my 12 digits. And I think I'll use this I am user, and that I think that should be the right password. So I'll just sign in. I'll definitely look at my phone for MFA. I usually use Duo Mobile, but you're free to use any other. I usually use Cisco's Duo Mobile.
Excuse me, Kevin.
Yeah.
Can I use my root account for practice?
No, you cannot use it. You cannot use your root account for practice. You use your root user account to create an IAM user that has administrative access. And then you use that IAM user for now, maybe creating other users that have restricted access to certain services. So in essence, it is the IAM user with administrative access, which after, let me log in. I've actually explained to you until my MFA has expired, but it is the IAM user that can help you for your day-to-day tasks, right? So if you're using it for day-to-day practices, it's going to be quite crazy, because when you're hacked and that person gets in, they have the ability to do crazy things. I can tell you it is a personal experience. I learned it the hard way, and it is just, I can say by what grace that AWS didn't fully ban me out of their systems, because someone hacked into my root user and created one of the largest instances across almost all the AWS regions. So can you imagine how AWS felt when I have to explain to them that that wasn't me and please don't bill me and all those kind of things? It was 6 months worth of emails back and forth. So you wouldn't want that for yourself. And it was a very simple thing that happened. I was doing a cloud developer nano degree, and I just accidentally shared my my AWS access key and secret key onto GitHub. And that is where all things went down. So you don't want to be, and that is what made me really focus on security, because I didn't want that to happen to other people the way it happened to me. So let's get on to this. Let me just show you my IAM, the permissions that I have for this particular K2A user, IAM user, that you can get an understanding of what it does. I don't know, I'm still getting some kind of a lag, but it's okay in terms of the transmission of the same kind of, and my route, I think it's super fine. Okay, I'm back. So as you can see, all my security recommendations are good to go. And you can see I have 3 IAM users, and I have 3 groups. I have some 46 roles and all these kind of things. And you can see I've met all kind of things here, and I have my sign-in URL, my account ID, and such. So if I go to users, sometimes I create users and delete them, just in case I don't want to use them anymore. Or maybe if I'd given someone access there so that they can test out a service using my account, my AWS account, and they don't require it anymore. So I think there was a time I used these for some tests or something, and you can see the last activity was quite some time. That was that time, but I still have it there just in case or something. So this is the account that I'm in, and you can see the last activity was 2 minutes ago. My password age is around 78 days. This one I've not used it for a while. I was testing my Amplify, but there are some that I created. These are the 2 that I usually leave there just in case, because Amplify, I use it because it created some dependencies and I don't want to delete that user. Okay, so just to show you the permissions, because I want to show you some permissions, and then we can get to the lab. Okay, so where will we? So you can see I have 2 access keys, and then you can see I have administrator access for these. So you should use, it's very simple to create it from the root account. It's the first user you
Excuse me,
create and you
please.
leave it like that. Yes.
Excuse.
Yes.
Are you sharing your screen?
Yes, please.
Are you sharing your screen?
Yes, I am. Are you not seeing my screen?
Yes,
We
I
can.
cannot see.
Sean,
Yes.
kindly check your network because we can see on this end.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
do
fine.
check. Yeah, do check because I can see. I was wondering what should I do, or maybe you can just drop off, then come back, and you're going to find it. Anyways, yes. So this is what you use. Don't use your root user for your day-to-day tasks. That was pretty much it. So today, I'll just jump onto infrastructure protection. You can see there are many others here: identity and access management, detection. So if we could go to maybe let's say identity and access management, you can see you can do permission boundaries, you can do all these automated IAM user cleanup. And these are usually, all these labs are aligned to some of the best practices under the security pillar of the well-architected framework. So, and you can see there's even a foundations section where you know how do you set up your AWS account and root user security, all those kind of things that you're supposed to do. And also you can look at the credentials report, blah, blah, blah. But that one was not the focus for today. Today, I wanted us to look at how can you secure an instance, right? And I'll definitely use the basic one because it doesn't make sense. I'm not sure what you've all covered in terms of your curriculum. So I wouldn't want to go to something a bit more intermediate or advanced. So as you can see, this is the introduction to the lab itself. And here you're being told that this hands-on lab will guide introductory steps to protect an Amazon EC2 workload with network-based attacks. From network-based attacks, you will use the AWS Management Console and CloudFormation to guide you through how to secure an EC2-based web application with defense in-depth methods. Skills learned will help you secure your workload in alignment to the AWS well-architected framework. So in terms of the goals, you're going to be having some 3 goals here. You're going to be able to protect your network and host level boundaries, system security configuration maintenance, and also enforcing service level protection. And you can see how is it aligned to the security best practices from the well-architected framework. There's SEC, all of them have BP numbers. So you can see you are going to have this one from BP1 to BP4 of SEC 05. That is create network layers, control traffic at all layers, and then you should be able to automate network protection. And finally, you should be able to implement an inspection and protection. And you should ask yourself, maybe you should do an introspective and ask yourself, maybe you've already been doing some hands-on. Have you been doing some of these things? Those are some of the things that you need to ask yourself. As you can see, it's a level 200. It's quite short. It's going to be around 30 minutes. And the beauty about it is what I love is it has the way you link to launch it. This part, which I always look for in the end of workshop, a cleanup section so that you know what you created so that you can delete it. So let's see the steps. So I'm going to go to EC2. So let me just align my page side by side so that we have these like happening so that you can see them. And I can close this part because I'm not going to cover many other things. And I can just show you these, put my pen kit here, then we can go on. So I'm being told to navigate to EC2. By now you should be able to know you can use the search, you can use the favorites. For example, you can see always EC2 is mine, it's always first on my favorites bar, and also maybe on my recently visited. So I'll just use whichever route you get it. But I always say life is too short to be typing things that you don't need to type. So if you can reduce typing kind of way, find that method. So one way is not to search and then you type EC2. You should have do it only once, then save it as a favorite, then you're good to go. Okay, so I'm going to launch an instance. Make sure you're in the desired region. So should also check whether they want you to be in a particular region. Do they want me to be in a particular region. But really, so you're going to this part. I believe you already know. Maybe hope you can tell me. Has the cohort gone through the process of launching any kind of instance on the cloud, whether it's on Azure or AWS?
Yes, I believe they have.
Okay, awesome. So it means that meaning that I'll just fly through this part so that we go to the security thing so that I don't, but I'll obviously explain the security aspects that are very important. So as I've been told here, I need to give it the name WA under hyphen what EC2 Linux 01. So let's, I don't know why I'm getting some lag, but okay. So it's loading the enemies here. So as that comes up, as I do that, let's look at what I'm going to do. I'm creating an instance, and then I'm going to key pair, and I'm going to choose ED25519, and then I'm going to, I'm not going to create an RSA. Nice, I'm going to use ED, and then this is just a screenshot. It's going to be a .pem. Then I'm going to expand all the settings. Then I'm going to allow SSH traffic from my IP. The reason why I'm doing from my IP, that is obviously for security purpose. You don't want anyone from wherever they are all over the world to SSH into your instance. So as a best practice, but also do consider that your IP might change. For example, right now I'm using my Safaricom router. If I decide to switch to my Safaricom mobile hotspot, that would be a different IP. So you should make those considerations if you are going to use your IP. Then, yeah, for network settings, I think this is just a screenshot. You're going to have this user data, which is a script thing to launch an Apache, a simple web server. Let's launch the instance. Okay, good. So Amazon Linux, which Amazon Linux do they want us to use? I would prefer Linux 2023. So yeah, it is that one. Is it t2.micro? Then I'm going to create a key pair, which I'm going to obviously delete later on. I'm going to call it as they've stated. And then I'm not use RSA. I'm going to use this. Actually, it's weird because I've not ever thought of using the ED25519, but I can see it gives you an RSA or whichever kind of encryption. So PM, then I'm going to create. Always remember you need to download that private part when the prompt comes through, and where you need to save it. You can just save it, okay, under my documents, no worries. And once I have my key pair up, I'll go to network settings. Okay, I'll just expand it. So I'm going to use my default VPC. I have to create a new one. I'm going to say allow SSH traffic from my IP. And then I'm going to allow HTTP traffic from the internet. I think this one helps, but you can see in essence, technically you should need to edit, and then you now set it up quite well. I also don't like it when it's written weird things, so I can just use a security group name that will make my life easier. And remember, I saw be able to delete it so that you don't have junk security groups that you don't want to always have. So maybe I'll put it WA, what has been the standard? You can see the well-architected security, as you can see. Then I can put SG. So always find a way of naming your, so I can just leave the description as it is. Anything else on network, or I need to copy the user data. So I'll go to user data and advanced details. Okay, I am in and I am pasting it here. So I've saved, this is just going, so what is happening here, it's just updating the instance, then installing HTTPD, which is the Apache web service, then it is starting it, and then obviously making sure that it is launching it, then activating it, and then it is making sure that there's modification from Apache to EC2 user, and then the user Apache to own EC2 user and Apache to own the www folder. You know, the www folder is the one that is used to access, and then it's going to find and then execute chmod, and you already know this. You might be already knowing the numerical of permissions. And yeah, so it's going to find that and see what it is. So, but our essence is not really to look at what is the depth of that. So I'll just launch this instance. But before you click any launch, always just have I usually have this thing of just trying to go back and confirm that I did everything the right way, because there's no thing as painful as maybe thing that doesn't compare is when you hit your toe in the corner of the bed or a chair. That is the only thing that is more painful than having to do a whole process all over again just because you missed a step. Anyways, so we've already done that, and we've already, now the instance is being launched. And once it's launched, we're going to now create an ALB. An ALB, which is in full an application load balancer, is going to make sure that we are going to have traffic coming from the user being routed to different instances, so that you can also have you can also have maybe integration with the web application firewall, as you can see, and also maybe to ensure that there is little downtime. Or think about it, for example, the Netflix content in Kenya is not the same Netflix content in the US, right? And all these other kinds. So you can see the kind of they leverage a load balancer to ensure that they can route traffic according to the maybe location. There's different kinds, and even Route 53 can also help with that. But I don't want to deviate too much. So we're going to use a security group. And maybe just to get to back and get to hear from you so that I can engage you. First of all, we are having two things that always comes out in security. Security group and what? Network access control list. So who can tell us what is why do we need both, or what is the role? What is the difference between the two? Why are you using a security group here and you're not using maybe a network access control list in this case? Anyone who is brave enough to maybe unmute and tell us just in like 20 seconds? Yes, Caleb.
For the group, I think, okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, for the security group, I think it's there. Its purpose is to apply similar permissions to a list of people instead of giving and assigning permissions and controls to each and every user. So that's what I would say for the group, security group.
So the security group does what?
It enables the enforcer of the permissions to apply conditions to a large group of people at once.
Okay. Yeah, sure. And thank you so much for that. It obviously can be able to help you, like you can even have different kind of instances share the same security group and kind of make sense. I saw Patrick and also I think Samuel Masharia. Okay, there's quite a number of hands. Maybe I can give two more people, then can see. And definitely, please, I would like us to now get to let me know NACL and SG. Why the two? Why do we need them? What does what, that does what, and such. Patrick, then Samuel.
I can say, since we are focusing on EC2 instance, security group operates at the instance level, and the NACLs operate at the subnet level. So that's the difference between the two.
Yeah, perfectly put. The reason why we need the security group, and also maybe you can be able to say that one is stateful and another is stateless, is that the security group is more towards the instance. It operates at the instance level. Think of it like, let me put an analogy around it. For example, let's say you go to visit Safaricom HQ, right? At the gate, you're going to find the the gate man asks you, did you have an appointment? What? Then you're going to say yes. They're going to check in the list, and then they're going to see, yes, you really did have an appointment. Then once you go through the security protocol at the gate, you're going to go to the reception to go and confirm that that person who you were to meet is actually in their office, or maybe is available in the building, and maybe the receptionist will also now, maybe for security purposes, they're not going to allow you to go into an office where they are not there, or to allow you to go to a secure part of the building, yet you're going to maybe just be hovering around it. You're not going to be leveraging the main reason why you are there. So the gate man can be thought about as a network access control list, because they are managing traffic at that level where it is coming all over from the internet, right? But the receptionist, you never find, it's rare to find like at the gate man and the receptionist in the same like cubicle, and they're doing that kind of role. You'll mostly find the receptionist inside the building, the first place you enter. So you can think of the receptionist as the security group. Amazing. Hope that helps. I don't know whether yes, Patrick, yes, I think it was, yes, you wanted Samuel. I saw Peter Moy, but I'm going to give you an opportunity later so that you can be able to move with this lab, but this lab isn't too long. Okay. Samuel, you wanted to say something? Or there's nothing more to say from after that? Okay. Yes, Job.
Mine is just but a question. Can we have access to the event? Can we get the event access code to access create your EC2 instance workshop, AWS workshop?
Oh, yes. So that one is usually provided when the workshop is being run by AWS solutions architect to a partner or maybe AWS partners to a prospective client, or maybe like a client who is already a customer, and they want to upskill their staff, right? So they would plan that in advance, then set it up, then avail the whole thing or the process. But for you and I, that is why you're going to leverage our own AWS account. So we are not going to leverage that part of the event code. That one is usually managed to when AWS and they work with the engineering team and they set that up or something of that sort. This is similar to one that I had on Aviatrix and AWS yesterday, and we were given an event access code. I don't think it has expired yet. I think it was so crazy. That lab was so crazy. I had to go and sleep fast. But yes, that is how it works. So here I don't have an event access code. I don't work for AWS. I didn't set up with an engineering team to set up an event access code. So yes, so please let's move with this, right? Don't worry, this one doesn't take too long. So don't, as a person who is aspiring to be an engineer, always don't fear using your own AWS personal account, as long as I've told you it has a cleanup section. So you're going to clean it up and it's not going to eat up. Okay, and also if you have like 1,000+ credits worth of credit, I don't have worries about thinking about that. But that should not be even an issue, because you're going to not get even to $1 worth of costs. Okay, so my instances has been launched, and I'm going to go to create a security group. Okay, I don't know why you need to create one, but I can see, I'm creating one for the load balancer. So I'm going to go to security group section. So I need to move a bit faster, but that was engagement. I usually prefer that way. And then, so you'll allow us to move up to the end of the lab. Then we'll have a discussion, but feel free to interject me if you see something that you'd like to ask. So I'm giving the security group a name. I don't think this is something we need to explain. The description, then I'm going to add a role, and then it's going to be HTTP from port 80 from anywhere. Then I'm going to create the security group, right? Then I'm going to create a target group. So because a load balancer will need to route traffic to a target group, right? To a group of kind of instances. So I'll go to this part of load balancing, and then I'll go to target groups. And then as you can see, I'll create a target group, and then I'll give it a name. So let's give it, so first of all, is you can see sometimes the instructions might differ in a bit, but the beauty about it is since these workshops are used a lot, as I've told you, by AWS solutions architects and partners, they're usually updated much more frequently than other kinds of tutorials and something. So using instances, you can see you can load balance instances, IP addresses, Lambda function, something. So let's give the target group or an application load balancer, and then turn on the instance named the dot. So I'll choose next, so I don't have to worry about this. You can even set up health checks. I'm seeing there's a health check for HTTP. It's fine. So let me go to next. And then I'll turn on this by selecting. I'm very sure this is the one because it was running. I'm going to include as pending below. So people sometimes forget to do this. You select it and then you go to next. So you need to include as pending below so that it appears here at the bottom, and then you create the target group. So if you don't do that, include as pending below, you're not going to have the target group having your instance in it. Then I'm going to now create the load balancer. So I've created the security group for the load balancer. I've created the target group for the load balancer. And then I'm now creating the load balancer itself. So let's create the load balancer. So I'm going to use the application. There are many others, depending on the kind of traffic that you want to load balance. If you're balancing like layer 3, 4 traffic, you'd use a network load balancer. And sometimes maybe if you are maybe deploying third-party virtual appliances, you can use a gateway load balancer. But let's use the application load balancer, which is the most predominantly used. Then I'm going to give it a name. And then I'm going to, for mappings, I'll turn on all them. So as you can see that different types, you can even decide to load balance internal traffic, but here you're going to use an internet-facing kind of a load balancer. You know, with the essence of with the coming of IPv6, you can set up a dual stack kind of a load balancer IP address, or a dual stack without public IPv4 or IPv4. But for now, I'll leave it as that. And then for mappings, you can see I need to select all these. It select US these availability zones. In US East 1, there are 6 of them. I think this is the largest, right? Usually say the world rides on US East 1, right? So there's those very, very many numbers. So for the security groups, I'll turn off all the selections by doing that. And then I'll choose the WA, yes, this one, WA lab SG, what. Then for the listeners, so the beauty about a listener is it is going to check what traffic that is coming from this part, where should it go to? So then I'm going to forward it because we've already created the target. Have it. Then I'm going to create the load balancer. So you can add all that these other integrations, but that one is we don't need it. So just create the load balancer. Then it's going to take a bit like a minute, and it's going to be active. As it does that, I'll move to the WAF console. That is moved to the WAF and Shield console, the WAF version 2. So I'll just open it up.
Hello, Kevin.
Someone wanted to unmute and ask something? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kindly share the link to that lab that you are currently working on. I can't seem to find it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let me see if I can put it up in the Q&A. So I think my Q&A kind of loaded. So I'll ask a question as a facilitator. So let me see if I can ask and you'll see it.
Thank you.
Some people say they're very unfamiliar, but the beauty about security, not do it all in one day. So this is the link. Hopefully it's going to be clickable on your end. Oh yeah. Okay, I think I've pasted it twice. Hopefully not. Yeah.
I have a question, Kevin.
Yes, Barak.
There's a place that you are trying to. Am I audible?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, you're trying to configure the listeners and routing, and I saw that you put HTTP. Is there like another protocol that you can use? Maybe something like HTTPS?
Yes, definitely. So you can use, but for the purposes of this lab, it would mean that we need to maybe like get an SSL certificate, maybe whether it's from Let's Encrypt or maybe from a AWS certificate manager, and then set it up there, and then start now like making sure that it has propagated those validations, DNS validations, and you already know you cannot apply an SSL certificate to an IP, right? You can only apply an SSL certificate to a domain. So that will also mean that let us now register a domain and all those kind of things, which I think would be an overkill for a kind of a lab scenario. So, but it can allow, and you can be able to see that. Okay, let me see. You can be able to see there are many other protocols. Let me just open that and I cancel this. And I think I'm being told my LB was creating. Let's confirm whether it's still provisioning, but I can just go back here to load balancers and show you the other kind of. So when I click on create load balancer, you can even be able to look at kind of, you can see HTTP and HTTPS. So if I go to listeners, you can see HTTP and HTTPS, right? But the moment I put HTTPS, I can still also put that and forward it to the target group. But you can see it is already in use for HTTP. So I need to like I cannot create two load balancers to route traffic to the same target group, right? As having a new, I would actually put it there. I hope that answers you. Hope you're good, Barak. Okay.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So where are we? I don't know. I'm getting a lag. Okay. This one was loading much faster than this one. Let me close that one. I don't know why things are coming, but it's because it's coming all the way from your system. Anyways, so here it is. Here I'm having WAF. WAF is web application firewall, and go to creating a web ACL. Most of the time, sometimes if something you're seeing for the very first time, you might see that you need to activate a trial or something. So be careful if you are seeing something of that sort. And sometimes you don't have to click whatever is here. If you're told to navigate something that is on the sidebar, you better do that rather than doing whatever is here. Because sometimes whatever is here has limited number of steps. And whatever you're being shown on the side is going to be quite different. So let's just create a web access control list. And then we are going to, for the resources, you can see you can never use for distribution. But that one was not part of what we're covering today, but you can also use it for regional resources. In our case, it will be a load balancer. So let's give it a name. And then we're going to add AWS resources. Then I'm going to say, let me just confirm that our load balancer was created, was finally fully provisioned. Don't want to assign it while, did I say, cancel? This one was just when I was showing Barak, so I don't need to do this again. So let's just confirm. Yes, it is active. As you can see, you can confirm that it is active by looking at this part. So I'm good to go. Okay. So let's see. Let's create a web ACL. And in this case, you're going to leverage the load balancer. And I'm going to set that. And then I'm going to add it. And then I'm going to go to choosing next. And then I'm going to add the rules. Then I'm going to add my own rules, not manage. So types of rule groups. So if you want, you can leverage the AWS managed rule groups that you cannot modify. But if you choose your own, you have more control over them. So that is what you're using currently. So you're going to use the rule builder. So I'm going to give it a name, and then inspect. For inspect, choose HTTP method. Okay. Name, enter, regular. So as you can see, yeah, for inspect here, we'll choose HTTP method. Yeah. So you can see, you might miss out something and wonder why is it, but you can see here it is written under statement, right? And here they're saying inspect. So if you don't look at it cleanly, you might miss the inspect. That is what I was wondering why. I usually see this where I may be told inspect and I need statement. So for match type, exactly match is string. That means that it should be able to exactly match that kind of a string. The string to match is the get. You can use just to be precise. As I always tell you, if I can avoid typing, I prefer that. For action, instead of blocking, I'll choose count. Count. Yeah, so you can be able to choose that whatever, when it finds it, can it allow it, can it block it, or can it? So for our case, we're just using count. Then I'm going to add a rule. So remember, this is just one part of that step. So once that rule is added, I need to maybe select it, maybe. And then I'm going to go to just next. As you can see, this is just the rule priority. You don't want to change it, so just leave it as next. Then for metrics, you can see it's going to create a CloudWatch metric, and then it's going to enable sampled requests. And then so I'm just going to go to next. Then I'm going to create. You can review whatever you wanted, but the beauty about CloudWatch is going to help you see how it is performing and doing some monitoring around that. So I've created, and oh yes, so I also need to make sure that my load balancer was loading as that one was created. So my load balancer, you can be able to get the DNS, right? So let me just open it. We didn't test the DNS. So this is my DNS. Let's open it up in a new browser. And I need to ensure that I put the HTTP for yeah, so you can see it is loading and it is load balancing all the way to the instance, right? The beauty about a load balancer, it provides the DNS. It also gives the kind of a thing in terms of the ELB. So you don't have to really register a domain for this for you to access it. So you can see you can now configure the integration. So you can see I'll try to refresh it a few times. It's still working. So I'm going to configure an integration between those rules, that rule that you have created, that WebACL rule with ALB. So let's do that. So I'm going back to the WAF. This should be that part. Oh, it's still creating. Okay. So as it creates, maybe any question? Be happy to see whether we have a question before we, as we wait for this one. I don't know, it's taking kind of a thing, but it's okay. So any other question? Yes, Ian.
Yes, hello, Kelvin. So my question is in relation to the web application firewall. Is it possible to add like different rules that go towards different endpoints, like restricting post endpoints and other places restricting to GET requests only? And on top of that also, is it possible to set?
I don't know, did I lose you? Are you still hearing Ian?
Sorry about that. Am I back?
Okay, it's okay.
Okay. Yes.
Yes,
So
you are
my
asking the second question. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Is it possible to set a captcha to minimize brute force attempts in certain endpoints that would be vulnerable, like registration and login?
Yeah, definitely. So let me just show you a kind of a because we are doing it in a hands-on kind of way. Let me see if I can open this in a different page, as I wonder why this one didn't go out of that page. So let it load, and I'll show you some of the options that you have for especially for even the managed. You know, sometimes you can even leverage the rules that come out of the box, and those ones also are quite rigorously tested, and you don't have to worry much about them. So I'm going to create a new WebACL, but I'm not going to finish that whole process, just to show you what it is. So I can see it was created. Wow. Or maybe it hung from there, but I can see the WebACL is there. So let me create it. Definitely let me just put some text there. And I'm going to add an AWS. Should I add? No, let me just go to next, because I'm not going to even create it. So if I go to add rules, instead of me using my own rules, let me just go to manage rules. And let's go through a whole kind of thing. Let me just maximize this even for now, just for now, and take this to the side. So you can see, I can just go to AWS managed rule groups. Let me just expand that. And you can see account creation, fraud prevention, it's a new one. But you can see for these ones, you are usually paid, you usually have to pay some fee. You can see it is a tiered model, and then you can see provides protection against creation of fraudulent accounts on your website. Fraudulent accounts can be used for activities such as obtaining sign-up bonuses or impersonating legitimate users. So this one, you can just click and add it to the WebACL, just like that, and then you use it. You don't have to worry about all things. You can have one for bot control. There's some free rule groups here, like admin protection, Amazon anonymous IP, known bad inputs, Linux operating, PHP, SQL, Windows operating system, even WordPress. Like for example, there was a time there's a time when there was a huge like upsurge of WordPress kind of attacks. And there was one client who decided, because they are an untechnical people, they're always fond of WordPress, and I deployed their WordPress on AWS. They were facing a lot of attacks. Maybe their database goes down, or maybe they are being told that they're sending spam IP. So I set them up on WAF, and I made sure that I just use this one. I just use rule here, this rule group or something of that. So it comes as a group of rules. So you can do that. And just remind me, what was the first question?
Okay, so the first question is, would it be possible to set different rules for different endpoints, like restricting certain endpoints to only post and other endpoints to only get, or can you just restrict for the whole website alone?
Yeah, you can do that. So what happens if I go to next? Okay, I need to put some dummy text here. Sorry. Okay, I think you can start with a number. So let me do that. And then if I go to here, so you can see they can be able to allow using custom headers. As you can see, I can add a new custom header, and then I can see if the header name, I can maybe say Kevin, this is the name, and the value has some weird value, then I can say maybe heaven. Then that is when that person will be able to be allowed, when it's be able to see that in terms of the request. So those kind of things you can be able to put out there. And then the other part that is also quite interesting is what you can see here, because I only focused at my own roles and groups. I only focused on one thing. So you can see if a request matches this statement, that is inspect what? You can inspect your URI path, cookies, headers, the query string, the HTTP method, all these. So you can see that if the HTTP method is maybe, okay, like let's say, okay, exactly matches the string, and you can say post, right? Because HTTP methods that can either be get or post, then do what, and all these kind of things. So you can be able to leverage many different kind of things depending on what you want to achieve.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, welcome. So let's finish up this lab so that we don't fade here. Let me just get my laptop has decided to say that I didn't charge it enough before starting this class. Okay, not class, like this session. Let me just get my charger here. Okay. Good. So I think it's charging. Good. Okay, so where are we? So we are going to select. So should I? So I'll choose it itself. You can even close this part. Put this first in the middle. So let's see what we're having here. So you can see I'll just scroll down to I'll just go to the sample request tab. So when you see thing like tab on AWS, this is usually the part you look at. The part you look at most of the time. So if you're not seeing them there, you can see there's an arrow. What you'll do, you'll obviously navigate that way. So you can see I've seen sampled requests. Add more than 5 minutes. After more than 5 minutes have passed, which I believe has passed as you're answering the question, is you'll see an overview, a dot representing your refreshes. So, okay, add roles or metrics. Okay, choose the sampled request tab, sampled requests. Okay, doesn't have. Okay, I should have refreshed a lot of times. I don't know. I should have actually, or because these are get requests, so it should be able to appear here on the sampled requests. I don't know whether I think I didn't, or maybe by the time I was refreshing, it had not finished. It had not finished. And you can see this is what you would get. It was /that, and then it allowed it at which exact time, and it was using which metric. So that is what you should expect when you go to this part. And I can see, oh, you can even decide to go to maybe this one, or role counting access, or whichever kind. And you can see they have appeared here. They've even saying where I did it from, and you can see it is already showing from Kenya and such. And I can share with you. Maybe somebody can open this and from wherever they are, and let's see whether, as long as you don't have issues with your IP, and or maybe if you're on a VPN, it will also be awesome. Let me share this with you in the Q&A, and then somebody can open it up, and I can refresh, and you can refresh a bit of some 2-3 times, and I'll be able to refresh on my sampled requests, and you'll be able to see. So if you open it up and you do a bit of times, you can come back here. So that is the sampled requests. So we are finishing it up. So you can see, you're already done. So you're going to be doing cleanup after this. So let's get 1, 2, 3 more people. So the beauty, the thing is, I can even change my rule, and I can even update, which I'm going to do. I'm going to do a block. Instead of allow and just counting, I'll do a block, and you see you're not going to be able to access it, right? You're not going to be able to access. Or maybe I can put a particular IP. I can use IP sets, and then I can say this IP range, for example, maybe it's from the Russia region. I don't want them to come and access my site. So the beauty about it is WAF is fully managed. You don't have to worry about the infrastructure that supports WAF. So anyone who has opened that, my simple web application that just says it works, if you've done it, I would maybe love to refresh. See, anyone? Okay, I can see some new here. I can even see somebody, I can see 1 or 2. We even went to /favicon.icon. I can see, and all of you are coming in from Kenya. So let's just change one thing. Let's change it to, let's go away from whatever is in the lab. Let's just do something for this WAF. Let's go back to the rules. Then let's go to this rule. Oh yeah, I can go back to it. Let me just do this. Let me go back. I'm just going to edit it. I'm going to go to edit it. And then instead of just counting the number of times, I'm going to say, you just block any kind of HTTP request or something. So you can see, instead of count, I'll just say block. Then I'll save that rule. So next time you try to access the site, it's almost going to be instantaneous. You're going to get, it's not going to load. You can see you're getting a 4.3 forbidden, right? So the WAF is already working. It's not allowing anyone. And I can go back to my, where is it? Yes, so I think no, it was that one. Yes. Oh, no, it wasn't this one. Yep. Oh, but that's the thing about opening so many tabs. So I want to show you just one thing before we end. I take it back to Hope. Is let's go back to sampled request, and the beauty is also you get metrics. You can see I have some like total traffic. I'm already seeing 46 bots, and let's see if I can refresh here and see how many have been blocked. Mine must already been blocked, so it should appear, but this one takes a bit of time. So let's look at sampled requests. So you can see there's one here. So you can see, you can see even 16 requests have been blocked, right? And you can see, and all this is already showing me the data around it. And you can see, you can be able to see all this. And I can see, I can even filter towards certain particular and what happened to them. Can be able to do that, and they can see that. So yes, very important part is to clean up, right? So let's clean up our environment. I don't want to go and back to Hope and tell her I did an awesome kind of a security thing, but I'm already crying at the end of the month or something. So what do I do? The beauty about this is you can easily see. So I'll go to EC2. I'll start with EC2, and you obviously need to follow it up as it is. And then I'm going to go to load balancing. Load balancing. Then I'm going to delete this one. As you can see, I'm being told here. And then I'm going just to confirm. Okay, for this one, it's just too small and too hectic to, let me just type that. And then I'm going to go to target groups. After I delete the load balancer, I delete the target groups. I think I'm doing it like in reverse order of how I created them. And then after I delete the target groups, I'm going to terminate the instance. I'm going to terminate the instance. Where is that instance? Okay, this one. Terminate the instance. Terminate it. Usually, I usually don't trust AWS enough until I see this part so that I navigate away from this page. So I've been able to do that. Then I'm going to delete the web ACL as well as the rules. So, so let's go back to web ACL. I'm going to the web ACLs. Then I'm going to delete this web ACL. Just to confirm, I'll confirm that I don't have role groups. So maybe in another scenario, so that I make sure Hope will call me back again, we're going to understand how we can leverage some things like IP sets or something, and also maybe how we can leverage CloudFront with WAF on another aspect. So that is just saying I did just give you a teaser, but please feel free to leverage this whole kind of workshop studio. It is going to give you a lot of hands-on around some of the different security best practices. Then you can also get the AWS well-architected security white paper. Yes, security well-architected white paper. It's like you can get it in the HTML format, or you can download it as a PDF. And then after you have it, make it your friend. You can see you can just get it. Yes, you can go down. Okay, I think there's a place where you can download it as a PDF and you get it as a white paper. So this is just the introduction, but there's a way you can get it. Yes, and you can see it has everything around it, but there's a white paper. There's a white paper that you can leverage, and it has all the different kind of things. For example, so what we did was under infrastructure protection, and you can see everything that is here. How do you protect networks? How do you protect compute? We were doing protecting compute, and we did 1 to 4. But this one is sex 06, ours was sex 05. So you can be able to see, we were able to create some network layers, and you're able to see, so these are some of the common anti-patterns. What people do that is wrong. You create all resources in a single VPC or subnet. If you're doing that, that is a bad practice. There's also maybe you construct network, you are being told everything, go to SecB, control network flow, control traffic flow, come and check whatever it is, some of the common anti-patterns, and even some of the things that some of you do, like using the root user. So not enforcing a strong password policy and sharing the same credentials among different users and all these kind of things. So you can be able to see the common anti-patterns and also what are the implementation steps. For example, you're being told turn on MFA, implement OTP, and all these kind of different things around IAM and some of the best practices. So back to you. And in case there's any question, I'd be happy to answer. Yep. So
okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay. So
Thank you.
thank you so much, Kevin. We will, if there's a question, kindly let us take one because of time. Is there any question? Any questions?
I think most of them asked them during the session. Maybe they're good enough. Unless, hopefully, I've not seen these. There was none on the Q&A that we missed. You were looking at it, right?
Kevin, can you share your LinkedIn?
Oh, yeah, sure. I can share it on
Or
the chat.
perhaps maybe where you do a lot of blogs.
Yeah, I
content.
do. Kevin Tuei. I do both on LinkedIn and on Medium. So if you go to my LinkedIn, it has a call to action to my Medium. So that is where I usually do. And you can even go check one article that I did, which was very interesting on S3 security best practice. I did it just as a fun. Then our developer advocate sent it to one of the senior specialists of S3, and it was crazy. Can you imagine? You were just doing it for fun, then somebody who is in AWS is told to review and you didn't know, maybe you feel you should have done it better. So I'll share my LinkedIn, and let's feel free to follow each other and feel free to share what you learned about this session. I'll be happy to comment on your posts. And I have several thousand friends who would be happy for you'd be happy to get visibility from. So yeah, thank you. Thank you, Barak, for that.
Wow, thank you so much. I know your LinkedIn will be flooded. So we also have a comment from Rose on the chat. She says, I enjoyed the session. Thank you. Vitmax, is that a question? I see a hand up.
Yeah, I have a question. Yeah, so my question is that I saw you working on Workshop Studio. So like I'm wondering if someone could do much more on Workshop Studio, especially when it comes to, I like things to do with automating and yeah. So like I was asking if I could do this, especially to do with the CLI. Is it possible?
Yeah, definitely. It's just that I don't want to go back to sharing my screen. Hope will be killing me after the call. So just go to workshops.aws. I'm sharing that, and you can just filter. Yeah. That one was under the well-architected framework, but when you go to workshops.aws, you can just look at a particular scenario. And the reason why I love workshops.aws or the AWS workshops in general, or the workshop studio, is they're leveraged by these AWS solutions architect, and it is maintained by AWS themselves. So you don't have to worry about maybe things are not panning out. Sometimes what I see people, they don't like doing it because they wait for the event access code or these kind of things, but look for one that has a cleanup section. You can be sure after you finish, it's not going to have costed you much. And I'm sure people like Hope would be lenient. I'll try to see, maybe next time I'll be able to see. I usually am part of AWS Customer Council, and sometimes I get into surveys and I get free AWS credit. So if I get one or two, I'll share with Hope for you for her to share with some of you, some of the best people who are hands-on the class. So I know I've already put myself on the spot, but I'll make sure the next few credits that I get, I'll share with the credit codes. I'll share with Hope.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, they're very good, and you can check them out. I've put it in the Q&A.
Okay, so thank you. I'm assuming then there isn't any other question. So hopefully we can all see the links on the Q&A. Kindly take note of them, save them. Also take time after this to just come back to the recording. We always post the recordings onto YouTube. So by next week, the recording will be up. Take time to go back and on step by step, check where you maybe were left behind, check where you need more to do more reading on and such things, so that this session just doesn't just come and go. And to Kevin, thank you so much for the session. It is always a pleasure to have you on board. I think every time you come on board, there's always so much you need to learn afterwards, so much to try out. It's really practical, and it helps a lot in terms of transferring the skills we learn in class into something actionable and actually marketable in the job sector. So thank you so much for that. Would you happen to have any last remark? Okay, any last remarks? Not final
Yeah,
ones, yeah,
one
just
more last
last
remark.
remarks.
First of all, just to know that I love, like Hope knows I'm a very busy kind of a person. Actually, I had to forgo my own All in Africa graduation that was starting at 7 to 8 for us to have this session. So one thing I can tell you is, please, if you are supposed to give 5, give 10. If you're supposed to give 10, give 15. If you're supposed to give 15, give 30. In anything, whether it's your studies, whether it's the work you do, or whatever. That is what makes the difference for me. That is why somebody would look at my LinkedIn and says, Kevin, are you ready for a 5-day kind of a workshop training? We're ready to pay you this kind of money. Let me not say. And then I say yes. Then telling me, okay, come to Mombasa and let's do this AWS training. That is how you do it. If it is posting on LinkedIn, if others are doing 1 per week, do 2 per week. If you're doing an article, if others are doing 1 in a quarter, do 4 in a quarter, or 5 in a. If people are doing certifications, if people are doing 1 in a year, do 1 per quarter, if it is possible. That is the best thing I can tell you. That is the hack that I can share with you.
Wow.
Thanks.
Thank you. I think I have nothing to add after that. Have a lovely night, everyone, and see you next week. Bye.
Hello, Kevin.
Yes, Miriam.
Yeah, there's this post that you have
Yeah.
talked about. I'm sorry, we were leaving, but I have to ask this one. Is this post that you've talked about that was on your LinkedIn and I can't find it?
Which one?
Best practices on S3, something like that.
Oh, yeah. So you just go to kevintuei.medium.com. Let me share the link in the chat, and you're going to find it. On my LinkedIn is going to be crazy because you have to go back several thousand, okay, not thousands of posts, but I usually post a lot.
Thousands.
So let me just share with you the direct link to my blog, kevintuei.medium.com. Yeah, so you'll find it there. Yeah, and I haven't started doing articles too long ago, so you can always start. So that is the link, and see you next time.
I can't see it.
On the Q&A, just go search kevintuei.medium.com, or just go to medium.com and search Kevin Tuei. I'm very sure there's not so many Kevin Tueis on Medium. That is where I usually do most of my technical articles. Yeah. Okay, so Hope is away. Okay, Hope is still here. So I can't be here, and you guys have a nice time. See you on the other one. And
thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you, everyone. Good night. And thank you for extending your time, Kevin. Good night, everyone.
Some will, I know that